Hello, everyone, and welcome to all those that have joined the Social Housing Data Network. Today's topic is all around building a data quality process, something that I feel very passionately about, and one of the reasons that we set up this group. So, we'll be doing something a little bit different today. I'll be doing a live demo of how to build a data quality dashboard. So, to go through some of the fundamentals first, though. Now, I'm assuming that everyone's got their fundamentals in place. So, everyone's got a data champion. Everyone's got their overall data stewards. It all feeds back into a data strategy. Um, the risks of not having this, I think, are too high in terms of having the right data for your customers, such as compliance data, customer data, repairs data, and things that are important to the overall customer experience. Last week, I talked about adopting AI, and having good, clean data is dependent on your AI adoption. So, just to talk a little bit about the structure of data and what to select. So, firstly, you want to identify some of your key tables. Now, most housing systems are based on a database, an SQL database, or other types of database, and they will have your valuable types of data tables in there, such as customer, complaints, components, repairs, all those things that we used to for managing most of stock in social housing. They all tend to be in a similar format. They might not be called the same, but they're all based on either a star or Snowflake schema. So, for example, you'll have a complaints table, which is your facts table where all your calculations are done. All the data will be run from this table, and you'll have a number of dimension tables which feed into this facts table. So, using this example here, some of the dimension tables that you might have are complaint stages, categories, priorities, owners, and these will be lookups for the main fact table. So what we then want to do is build a dashboard that then takes your data strategy from being sustainable and usable. So you want to build something like this. So these are all your rules based on those key tables that we talked about. You've also got a RAG rating about how important this data is. You've got the rules and you've got the measures that sit behind it. And it will look a little bit like this. So you've got this is using customer data, and you've got your rules set up, you've got data percentages in terms of what data is missing, and then over at the top, you've got the number of outstanding issues. Now, this is a good way of incorporating data quality within the organization. So you want your data owners to be looking at this and saying, right, I'm going to be fixing this data and I want this down from not 6% to 0%. So here's an example of complaints data. So you'll have your typical attributes here as well, such as complaints, acknowledged, sent, reported on. And these are sort of tables that we want to be making these rules for. So if you let's get into this then. So complaint acknowledged sent, so the rule one here, and you can see already from the previous tab that we're picking something up. So complaint acknowledged, so this is the first acknowledgement. You can see there's a lot of gaps in this data which we don't want based on the complaint reported. So let's set some of these rules up. So for this attribute here, acknowledgement letter sent, we want to say that date should not be blank. You might want another one in there as well to make sure that it's all in the right format as well. So you might want another one and say must be date, time format. And then when you build your Power BI report, you can paste in the measure here. Now this is something that you want to do with the people who are responsible in those areas that have got a vested interest, that are also your data champion. So this potentially would be your complaints manager. It might be some complaints officers in there, but you also want the head of housing or the head of complaints, whoever is responsible, to be also involved in this process. Complaints data and the rules that we've built, once they're fully complete, I think a really effective way is visualizing this in Power BI. Firstly, because you can refresh this on a weekly basis, and secondly, you can get this across to all the data owners, data stewards, and report back, preferably at a senior level, of the progress that you're making with data quality. The way I would go about doing this is creating a series of measures. So I'll just show an example of this. And I want to find out the percentage that's missing based on the acknowledgement date. So I'm going to use a divider starting off. Add in a count of the rows, which we're going to then put a condition in for in a minute, as through a filter. And the filter that we want to put on is based on this data set that I showed you. And then what we also then want to do is put on a condition of is blank. And it wants the value, so this is based on the complaints data that you've got in here, and the one I'm going to pick out is complaint acknowledgement sent. I'm not worried about putting this as a date, so I'll close this down. And what I want to do here is then put in a count for the percentage. And I'm going to base this on an ID, so I know that every record will have this ID. And just putting in a 0, sometimes you can have an issue with divide by rules. So, and as that's saved now, I can pull up a card. And with this card, I'm going to have this data quality rule in here. I'm just going to change this over to a percentage. And I can see now that's at 56%. What you could also add in, which I showed you on a previous dashboard, is that you can start adding in data such as percentage once you've built out all the rules and you've got a total of all those that are missing. Really effective way of visualizing this for you and for the business. If anybody wants any individual training or wants any further information on how to do this, please do get in contact, and of course would welcome any feedback and comments. Thank you so much.